Through its visual rhetoric and narrative design, Death Note constructs Light Yagami as a critique of authoritarian justice. Using Foucauldian power dynamics and the process of othering, the series exposes how Light's pursuit of moral purity transforms him into the very monster he seeks to raise. Through its stark lighting, framing, and Ryuk's ironic gaze, the show reveals the dangers of conflating control with righteousness. From the outset, Light is framed as an outsider, isolated in his brilliance and disillusioned by social decay. The camera often lingers on him in crowded spaces, detached and motionless, visually separating him from his peers. This alienation marks the beginning of what Michael Foucault describes as the process of othering, where an individual defines themselves as distinct from and morally superior to the masses. Yet unlike traditional marginalization, Light chooses his own separation. He views humanity as corrupt and positions himself beyond it, establishing the foundation for his God complex. His possession of the Death Note doesn't corrupt him. It amplifies his latent desire to dominate, to define morality from above. Light transforms into the sovereign gaze, the arbiter of truth who surveils, disciplines, and punishes without accountability. The self-imposed exile mirrors Nietzsche's Mensch, a figure who transcends herd morality only to become estranged from meaning itself. As Light's power grows, his emotional connect dissolves. His family become pawns, and his relationships mere strategy. What begins as rebellion against corruption becomes a descent into total isolation. His divinity depends on the denial of his humanity. Light's descent is crystallized in the killing of Naomi Misra, a former FBI agent investigating her fiancé's death. Naomi represents the integrity Light claims to uphold, yet when confronted, he manipulates her into revealing her real name, sealing her fate. This is the first moment he fully confesses his identity as Kira, his moral mask slipping into open domination. The framing reinforces this transformation. The camera lingers on Light's cold smirk as Naomi disappears into the shadow, while Ryuk's laughter echoes in the background. Through a Foucauldian lens, Naomi's death signifies Light's collapse from moral subject to disciplinary authority, his justice reduced to an exercise of power over life and death. The televised prison massacres further expose the illusion of moral order in Light's crusade. When Eld publicly denounces Kira as evil, Light retaliates in fury, confirming his need not for justice, but for submission. By defining criminals as the other, Light establishes a binary that mirrors the very structures of domination he condemns. His executions are framed through cold, sterile lighting, symbolizing surveillance and artificial divinity. The more he kills, the less human he becomes. The irony is clear. In seeking to eradicate evil, Light recreates the carceral gaze, turning the world into an authoritarian rule. The death of L marks the apex of Light's transformation. When he manipulates the Shinigami Rem into killing L, the framing is intimate yet perverse. L dies in Light's arms, a pose of tenderness inverted into triumph. The half-lit composition of Light's face reflects his moral split, half divine, half monstrous. L, bathed in soft white light, embodies human vulnerability, contrasting with Light's crimson hue of corruption. Here, Death Note transforms its central rivalry into meditation on the ethics of surveillance. Light's intellect, once a tool of justice, becomes a mechanism of control. His victory signifies not moral clarity, but the triumph of power over conscience. Light's death completes the cycle. Stripped of authority and bleeding, he wanders in desperation, a god without followers, a man without meaning. Ryuk's indifferent execution of him reaffirms Foucault's principles. Power defines truth only so long as it is exercised. Once Light loses control, his significance collapses. The same society that once revered him now forgets him. Ultimately, Death Note reframes the archetype of the hero-turned-god as a Foucauldian tragedy. Light's self-othering and authoritarian justice expose how the will to define morality from above transforms liberation into domination. By isolating himself from humanity, he loses the very moral ground he sought to purify. Through its interplay of light, surveillance, and irony, the series warrants the pursuit of absolute justice. Like Light himself, inevitably devours its humanity.